Over the last 2.5 years, I have been actively involved in understanding and trying to disseminate information about sea level rise and its economic impact to South Florida. One of the things that most likely will happen, and it's already in progress, is the federal government currently subsidizes flood insurance for homeowners and for commercial businesses. I think that that will change. I think that the federal government will get out of the subsidizing of flood insurance. So as that program changes, what will happen economically is that if the insurance now rises 500 to 1,000% and you're passing those costs along, it makes it very difficult for people to, let's say, live in that apartment building or even pay the rents.
Insurance companies generally decide to take a risk on an annual basis. At any given point, they could say, we're not going to write in this area anymore. Unless they're compelled to by the state or by the federal government, they may say, well, we're pulling out of certain areas. And there's laws and there's rules and regulations that deal with that.
The banking industry will also start changing how they look at loans. The likelihood is that in 10 years or so, they may consider stop giving 30-year mortgages. I think that those things, coupled with others, will have economic impact which would reverse what we are seeing now with such tremendous growth here in South Florida. Potentially, property values could start to decline.
Like we have divisions in courts for drug court or for mental health court, we may actually see in the future, as we get further into the century, divisions focused on environmental courts in the state level.
The law will evolve and claims for damages will evolve as they are impacted by sea level rise. Some of that will be, in the private sector where a home buyer may sue a home builder or a developer or make claims against insurance companies for not building properly knowing the area could flood. Part of the response from those being sued might be, well, the code doesn't require us to do that.
If condo associations and homeowners associations don't start creating reserves for the adaptations they need to make to their properties as the projections go up and actually the water goes up, then they could be accused of violating their fiduciary responsibilities as officers of these associations.
Clearly, planning how we build, zoning, has to change. Buildings that are being built today here in South Florida are not being built to be resilient for the most part. The root of everything, I think, has to start with stakeholders in the business community. They have the ability and the money and the power to push politicians to effectuate change, and they have great risk because their investment is here.
It's hard to adapt areas that exist now. It's not impossible. Is it expensive? It's enormously expensive. But the idea is that we can take steps now that extend the life of a Florida